welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Sullivan Gym for this week's CSPN Game of the Week. Alongside Dan Toomey and our cameraman Luke Norton, I'm Matthew MacCormack, and we have a South Shore League showdown for you all tonight as the visiting Monomoy Sharks look to take on the undefeated Cohasset Skippers. Dan, you excited for this one tonight? Of course, there's every reason to be excited. We're going to see great competition from both teams as Monomoy fights for a playoff spot with a record of 6-10, and also looking to come back for revenge against Cohasset, once again falling to the Skippers back in January, 54-36. Cohasset also looking to maintain their undefeated record of 15-0. Awesome, so certainly some playoff implications from both sides this evening, as Monomoy, if they lose tonight, will not be any more in consideration for an MIAA tournament spot, and if Cohasset gets this W tonight, they will clinch at least a share of the South Shore League, so certainly both sides will be fighting hard this evening. Dan, what do the Skippers have to do to pull this one out? Well, Matt, you know, Cohasset cannot underestimate the Sharks. Although they have every reason to feel good about their record and their style of play, last season they did split ties with the Sharks, losing in the second half of the year. So I believe, although they are undefeated, they cannot come into this game overly cocky. Awesome, so we hope to get you guys down onto the court to see if the Skippers can do just that. We have Dan's tease of the game, and we are ready to go. For Dan Toomey and Luke Norton, I'm Matthew MacCormack, and this is the CSPN Game of the Week.
Officials for tonight's game are John Morgan and Bob Mahoney.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we get started here in the Sullivan Gym, getting up to tip off here. Player to watch this evening will be Henry Hank Brown, number 15 in the Cohasset Skippers, coming in, averaging just under 13 points, about 6.5 rebounds and 2 steals, leading the team in points and second in rebounding. Skippers at 15-0, facing off against the 6-10 Monomoy Sharks. Taking the tip, Dan will be Patrick Federley, as well as number 5, Stephen Gonsalves for Monomoy. And Dan Toomey, here we go. That tip is won by Federley, and the ball goes to Buckley. And it's brought up top to Rocco Legel.
Good swing by Henry Brown.
And that ball's dumped down into Chris Haggerty. Can't get the layup to go. Rebound by Dalton Nickerson. And bringing the ball up is number 14, Tavion Miranda.
That's shocking to see, Matt. Usually Cohasset is always golden on that play. Perhaps teams are starting to notice their strategies.
Indeed, long season, 15 games through here. Skippers, despite that knowing the strategy, still remaining undefeated, and that shot is missed there by Wilson Amasquita, but offensive rebound goes to Monomoy. And that ball stolen by Henry Brown. And Rocco Legel pushes it up and wisely takes a step back to reset. Federley now dribbling around the top of the key for Cohasset. And Federley, top of the key. Rainmaker gets the 3 to go. 3-0 here for Cohasset. Just under 7 minutes in this first quarter remaining.
It looked like Cohasset was just trying to dump it down to Henry Brown, their leading scorer, but Patrick Federley making himself open for the 3 and proving that he can make shots as well.
Federley came into the game averaging 7 points per contest, as Henry Brown with a nice tip to Chris Haggerty, but that ball goes to Amasquita and back out to number 14, Tavion Miranda. And here's Gonsalves. And that's Nickerson with the baseline. Jay front rims it, but Gonsalves with the rebound. Back out to Nickerson. And that ball is dumped into Amasquita. Diving to the ground goes Nickerson, and there's a shot by Gonsalves with 18 left on the clock. Can't get it to go. Rebound goes to Henry Brown, and Rocco Legel looking up to push this ball.
And look at that, Matt. Just the raw speed and athleticism of Rocco Legel proving too much for the Sharks' defense. His speed has really been a factor this year for the Skippers.
Absolutely, of course, Legel, great wide receiver on the football team this year. You see that speed come into play here on the court. And after the turnover, Cohasset ball now. And here's Federley looking to dump it down inside, and there's Brown who does dump it inside to Joe Buckley, team's leading rebounder, and he is fouled on the floor by Dalton Nickerson.
I don't know if you heard this, Matt, but their coach called out the play Cohasset was trying to run, so you can see that the Sharks came prepared for this game. They want to make it to the playoffs.
Indeed, Coach Adam Rose with some tips for his players. Henry Brown with the bank shot, but it can't go. Looks like the bank isn't open on Tuesdays. And that ball will go out of bounds for Cohasset ball then.
Bit of a communication issue between Joe Buckley and Pat Federley we're seeing. Joe proving himself to be a great captain this year.
Also a captain of the soccer team as Rocco Legel takes it to the hole. Can't get it to go. Great tip in by Henry Brown. His friends call him Mr. Glass. No, they don't. Just kidding. And here's Gonsalves, who probably has the best hair out of anybody on the floor right now for Monomoy. Or for Cohasset, that matter. And the ball back up top to number 12, Evan Forgeron. And there's a skip pass to Nickerson, back to Gonsalves. Gonsalves up top. And with 3 seconds left on the shot clock, that shot for Forgeron doesn't go. Pat Federley, looks like maybe a travel there, but he misses the shot, and it's reset back out to Rocco Legel.
Now, it doesn't seem, as of right now, Monomoy's problem is as number 14 Tavy Miranda gets the turnover on Rocco Legel. It doesn't seem as though Monomoy's problem is finding open shots. Rather, it is taking the open shots. They've passed up quite a few.
I've noticed that as well. I think maybe, early game jitters that they're nervous to let it fly, but down 7 points, you're going to have to start taking some shots if you're going to score any points. And 10 seconds left on the shot clock here. Gonsalves with the ball. Little stutter step drive. No good. Rebound Buckley. Outlet pass to Legel. And under the 4-minute mark here in this first quarter. And that's going to be a travel on Rocco Legel. So fast-paced first quarter so far to start off, Dan.
It's maybe a little too fast for starting point guard Rocco Legel, as he is subbed out by junior point guard Teddy Craven.
Craven has stepped up notably several times this year. Back earlier in the season when Rocco Legel got injured against Rockland, Craven really was a spark plug for that team, averaging about two assists and 2 points per game. Seemed like small numbers, but in limited time, he's certainly been an adequate role filler for Legel's part. And that three is airballed by Forgeron.
Cohasset basketball, Matt, always thinking about the future. Teddy Craven is known for a long time that he would be a big role in this team once point guards like Christian Davis start to leave, and he's really started to step up, and that's what Coach Aguirre likes to see.
Indeed, they have that sort of next man up Patriots philosophy, where if one man goes down or graduates, the next guy's got to be ready to take his role. And speaking of that, Teddy Craven drives to the hole and gets himself 2 points. What do you see there, Dan?
Beautiful drive. Really, you don't see Teddy Craven attacking the rim that much. He's more of a passer rather than a shooter, but it seems as though he's expanded his game in the last couple of years.
And here's Forgeron, dumps it down to Nickerson, and again, Henry Brown. It seems game after game he comes up with these incredible blocks. 6'4" Brown with his lanky arms, rejecting away that shot from Nickerson.
Nothing is getting through this Cohasset defense, Matt, as Monomoy is still scoreless with 2:35 to go in the first quarter.
And now taking the ball up is number 14, Miranda. And that's Mesquita with the ball. Back to Miranda. Baseline J. No good. Brown with the rebound.
Great defense you just saw there by number 21, Joe Buckley for the Skippers.
And a good spin move there by Rocco Legel into the game now. Harrison Martin, the junior forward, who despite having very little time this season is averaging 6 points and 2 boards per contest. definitely a sort of instant offense type of player Harrison Martin is for this Cohasset team.
Of course, Harrison's a very streaky player. You know, if he gets scoring, it's very hard to stop him.
One of those classic players that can shoot you out of a ball game but also keep you in one. And with the shot clock winding down, turnover there, Rocco Legel forces the steal. And there's Harrison Martin, and he gets it to go. And the foul, Dan Toomey.
We were just talking about that. You see Harrison pulling up, getting the and one against the much larger defender. And Monomoy, the frustration leads to a timeout.
So, you know, looking at the stats right now, under 2 minutes to go here in this first quarter, 11-0 Cohasset. 5 players already on the scoreboard here.
And that's been Cohasset's philosophy for the majority of the season. Ever since losing star senior Shane Haggerty last year, they've really learned how to mold as a team and start passing and finding the open shot for whatever teammate rather than the open shot for a single teammate.
Right, I mean, you look at this scoring, and just right away you tell it's balanced. Henry Brown leading the way, 13 points, and then Chris Haggerty and Joe Buckley each with 8. Rocco Legel and Pat Federley each with 7 points a game. I mean, there's no real one player who's dominating the touches like Shane Haggerty did in the past. Is really a well-versed, well-mixed scoring plethora of options here for this Cohasset team. As Bo Ruggiero speaks to his team. What do you think he's saying there in the huddle, Dan?
You know, if I was him, I would be feeling pretty good about the way my team is playing right now. Their defense has shut them down, to say the least. And ever since that and one play we just saw from Harrison, that really gets the crowd going, that gets the team going. I think we're going to see more fire from the Skippers coming in this last 142 of the first quarter.
Fantastic, as Harrison Martin heads up to the line. Very good free throw shooter for this Cohasset team. Actually leads this team in free throw percentage. Does the junior. And from the charity stripe here, he gets it to go. 3 points on the night for Martin as he converts the N1. And that's Nickerson to Gonsalves with a sweep behind the back, but it goes nowhere. Onto the floor now for Monomoy's number 2, Noah Nickerson. No relation, interestingly enough, to Dalton Nickerson, number 21.
Perhaps number 5, Steve Gonsalves got away with the travel there, but refs didn't call it as Noah Nickerson throws up a wild shot as the clock ran down.
Every possession for Monomoy here seems to be down the wire with the shot clock as Rocco Legel drives to the hole and gets the 2 to go. But that has to be a problem for them, Dan, that they're not taking shots earlier in the clock and giving themselves a chance to really get a good shot.
I would agree with you 100% there, Matt. It's like I said earlier, you know, they're just not taking open shots. It seems as though they really want to get the ball into the hands of number 5, Steven Gonsalves, but that's just not working out right now.
As he misses that mid-range jumper. Getting up to about the 30-second mark here in this first quarter. Cohasset doing a good job of working the ball around the perimeter here. 10 seconds now on the shot clock. Harrison Martin with the 3, can't get it to go, but right there for the rebound is Henry Brown. Gets another rebound, but number 12 of Monomoy, Evan Forgeron, knocks the ball out of his hands. Checking into the game for Cohasset, Teddy Craven, as well as Jack Chamberlain, number 33 there.
And as we see Rocco get subbed out, you know, it's really hard to see a way Monomoy can stop his speed. He's just been cutting through their defense all game long.
Absolutely. And Craven here in for Legel, and there is an attempted shot by Henry Brown, but Gonsalves rejects it away. And here's Nickerson, 10 seconds to go in the first quarter, excuse me. And here's Gonsalves with the clock winding down. Flips it out to Forgeron. Can't get it to go at the buzzer, and that attempt by Nickerson is no good. So we end the first quarter here with a score of 14-0. Cohasset shuts out Monomoy in the first quarter. And at this rate, it's looking pretty good for Cohasset, Dan.
I would agree with you, Matt. The problem Monomoy is having is that they're trying to run their offense in a slow and patient way, and usually that would work out. However, against a defense as tight as Cohasset, you can't afford to be so patient with your offense. You need to keep hitting them hard. You can't dribble out of the paint once you've gotten into it.
Certainly, I mean, we see Coach Adam Rose talking to his team, but really trying to stress that this team needs to be more aggressive if they're going to be able to come away with this victory. And, you know, this is sort of a playoff game de facto for them. They win this one, then, you know, they keep their tournament hopes alive. So they got to show some more desire if they want to stay in this one as they're down 14-0.
And I think we saw that within the first 2 minutes. That Hart Monomoy kids are falling over the floor trying to get a ball, especially from number 15, Wilson Mosquita. But it seems as though they've lost that fire after falling scoreless in the first quarter, as we see number 2 Noah Nickerson take the ball at the beginning of the second quarter.
Of course, it's no small task to score. Score as Gonsalves drains that 3. It's no small task to score against this Cohasset defense that's so stifling.
As number 4, the sophomore Jack Donahue is called with the charge. Perhaps a bit of a frustrating call. And Cohasset putting on the press as number 5 Steven Gonsalves takes the ball up. Monomoy, once again, we're seeing a theme, them swinging it around the arc constantly, trying to get it into the paint. And Noah Nickerson's shot is perhaps deflected. Rocco Legel, number 5, taking it up.
That's Jack Donahue, number 4, the sophomore big man, getting called for the travel there, or double dribble, excuse me.
And immediately, number 25, Patrick Federley, is called in as 2 frustrating calls by the sophomore. And often in times it is a bit intimidating for a sophomore to be playing in this game. However, Jack is no stranger to the Cohasset varsity program. Monomoy trying to find a way to break the skipper press. Just getting over half court.
You see how the skippers move on defense. Everyone rotates, keeps their hands up, and it really makes it difficult for teams to score as looks like De Souza draining the 3 there for Monomoy.
Controversial call as we see Jack Chamberlain, the Cohasset junior, getting the shooting foul call.
Yeah, I don't know what that Monomoy bench looked like. They wanted a jump ball. I sort of am inclined to agree with them on that one, but
can't argue with that.
I mean, after that first quarter, Cohasset was up 14-0, and then we're talking about a blowout, and then 2 straight threes from Monomoy, and suddenly it's a 14-6 game. Only a minute into the second quarter, so this one's certainly not over.
That's just the art of basketball. One team could be out of it in one quarter, and then just like that, in the blink of an eye, they're back in it.
Both free throws missed by Chamberlain there.
Harrison Martin, number 31, the Cohasset junior, getting called for a loose ball foul.
That's his first, team's third.
Monomoy inbounding the ball once again, swinging it around the press. Noah Nickerson with the ball. A varsity veteran for the Sharks.
Nickerson, one of the best players on that Monomoy Sharks soccer team as well. Noah Nickerson, number 2.
And number 12, Evan Forgerson, will make that 8-14.
So, quick 8-0 run by Monomoy. They just rattle off 3 straight buckets, and all of a sudden this is a ball game again. Cohasset's got to sort of clean up the screws if they want to stop this Monomoy run.
And what you were mentioning earlier, I guess whatever Coach Adam Rose was saying to the team during the bit of a quarter break, that really motivated them to start doing better and hold on to their playoff dreams.
I agree, definitely. He seemed to be fiery in that first quarter break, and it's paid off with just about 6 minutes remaining in the second quarter.
Ball kicked out to number 21, Joe Buckley. Jack Chamberlain tries to get the pick, swings it around to Chris Haggerty. Rocco Legel changing up Cohasset plans a little bit.
That foul there called on De Souza. Supposedly a hand check. I didn't really see it there, honestly.
I don't know if I fully agree with that. However, Cohasset will retain possession.
Some confusion, it looks like, from the Cohasset side as to what play they were calling off the inbounds, but it seems to work.
Jack Chamberlain with the left wing. Monomoy defense starting to figure out Cohasset's offensive philosophy, as we can see them block number 25, Patrick Federley, on the attempted layup.
That's Gonçalves' second block in this game. He's long-armed. He seems to be able to get in the way and alter shots all around.
Bit of frustration from Evan Forgerson, number 12 for the Sharks, as he is responsible for their turnover. Rockaway Joe bringing it back up.
Forgeron had a wide open lane to the hoop, and he sort of mishandled the ball, so certainly you see why he yelled there.
Cohasset swinging around, finds the open three. Patrick Federley will take the three and make the three.
Second three of the game for Federley.
That'll get Cohasset spirits up a little bit after that odd 8-0 run we just saw from Monomoy. And once again, we see Stephen Gonçalves leading the court for Monomoy. However, his game has not been on par tonight, Matt.
Yeah, you know, he seems to definitely be the focal point of this Monomoy offense, certainly the primary ball handler for this team. And he's really got to get going if they want to stay in this game as we get on deep into the second quarter.
Federley at the top of the three line. Rockaway Joe fakes it, drives, and it is mishandled by number 21, Joe Buckley. As we see number 21, David Nickerson, sub into the game for Stephen Gonçalves. Looks like our predictions were correct in that he is not on his game tonight, Matt.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it. From a Cohasset standpoint, I mean, everything just seems to be, you know, a little bit shaky right now ever since the second quarter started.
Number 22, just on fire, man.
Logan DeSouza's second three of the ball game. He's got 6 of Monomoy's 11 points, and now this is a 6-point game.
As you see Cohasset get called for another foul, frustration starting to set in as DeSouza is making threes from an NBA range, Matt. This is uncanny.
Might as well rename him Jimmer DeSouza.
Kicks it out. Monomoy breaking the Cohasset press. As you see them try to start to recollect themselves, and DeSouza will airball that.
That's what you call in the playgrounds a heat check. When you made a few, you know, deep shots, and then you take another one, just see what happens. He airballed that time.
Cohasset defense quelling the fire a little bit.
Well played, Dan.
And Teddy Craven taking the open jumper, missing. Harrison Martin with the rebound that is blocked by Monomoy, and Cohasset will retain possession. As we just saw from Cohasset there, Matt, you see Coach Ruggiero call out the play, and the players will respond with military-like precision, immediately going to the next play.
Absolutely, runs sort of a boot camp type regime, does Bo Ruggiero. As Harrison Martin, great take to the hoop. 5 on the night for Martin.
Cohasset always practices taking it hard to the hoop. Harrison looking for the contact to not get the N1 call, as Noah Nickerson takes the three and makes the three. Looks like slim the Cohasset lead to only 5 points.
Looks like that's really a part of this Monomoy game, is spreading the floor, getting their shooters open, guys like DeSouza and Nickerson, to hit those 3 balls.
As Noah Nickerson is also called for the foul on the defensive end for Monomoy. Pardon. Rockaway Joe, top of the field.
Offensive foul called on Harrison Martin there. I didn't see it from up here, but
Harrison Martin as the second, team's 5th.
As you see Monomoy once again breaking the Cohasset press. No Nickerson. Passes it off. And another ambitious 3, and I think we're starting to see him become a little bit colder. Beautiful pass by Rockaway Joe for the foul. number 5, Steven Gonzalez and Henry Brown will go for 2.
As Hank heads to line, we'd like to take this opportunity to remind you this is the CSPN Game of the Week, brought to you by 143 TV. We'd like to thank our 143 TV program director, Don Roine, as well as our cameraman, Luke Norton, for helping us out this evening. Dan Toomey alongside Matthew MacCormack.
And Matt, as we see Henry Brown go to the line, what can we take from that last play? We just saw Monomoy's defense slow to react.
Yeah, you know, I definitely think that if Cohasset just keeps going to the hoop here, they're going to be successful.
Beautiful pass by number 2, Noah Nickerson. Chris Paul asking away.
Indeed, great long pass there. De Souza seems to be on fire here. 8 points of Monomoy's 16.
Perhaps that little timeout he had really brought him back to his game.
Yeah, you see the Monomoy bench making a pretty big impact here. De Souza and Noah Nickerson, between the two of them, have about 12 of Monomoy's 16 points.
However, Cohasset once again controlling the boards here. Monomoy is struggling to get a rebound from them.
Indeed, that's where the length and strength of Cohasset down low. Not to be a poet, but a lot of stuff down low for the skippers there, with Joe Buckley and Henry Brown really making a big impact there on the blocks.
And just looking at the two teams right now, we can see Cohasset does seem to be a little bit bigger, with Henry Brown and Patrick Federley, 2 of the tallest players on the team.
And there's Buckley getting on the score sheet for the first time this evening. 21-16 is the score. Just about 2 minutes to go here in this second quarter.
And Buckley will make both of those free throws, as he usually does. And Noah Nickerson taking the ball up, trying to get by Patrick Federley, but the trap is proving difficult for him. And Monomoy will take a timeout, as the Cohasset pressure seems just too much for them to handle.
Yeah, certainly a great trap there in that top left corner of the court, with Rocco Lugel and Pat Federley. That's exactly what the skippers try to do with that press, is lure ball handlers to the corner so they can trap them and get turnovers and create this fast, frantic pace game in which they thrive.
And it's not like they are not successful at what they do. They are great at that kind of defense. When point guards take it up the court and then are immediately surrounded by white, they have no idea what to do.
Indeed, and we are now inside the huddle with head coach Bo Ruggiero.
And you know, his philosophy is really what these players revolve around. Coach Bo, in a Boston Globe article from last year, the first thing that everybody says about Bo Ruggiero is that he's old school. Old school as in not worried about people's feelings, not looking to hold hands. And we can see that from this game. He is constantly yelling at his players to do better. But the Cohasset strictness and determination to win, no one argues with it, because they know what Bo says is law and is most likely the best for the team.
Indeed, that article coming from Brian McGrory, of the Boston Globe. Very well written.
And Cohasset causing the turnover. Rocco Lugel once again proving to be too much and makes the circus shot of the century, Matt.
Indeed, Cirque du Soleil there from Rocco Lugel, spinning it off the top of the backboard, gets it to go. And 8-point lead now for Cohasset.
And Henry Brown with the steal. As you see him pass it off to Rocco Lugel for another circus shot over 2 Monomoy defenders.
What can Brown do for you? Just that. Henry Brown, and as well as being the leading scorer, this team is also great at passing and distributing.
We see some frustration on the Monomoy bench.
It looks like Steven Gonzalez on the Monomoy bench knocked a chair down. Certainly that frustration mounting. The skipper's got a 10-point lead.
Henry Brown, very tight defense we're seeing here, and may have gotten away with a foul, but Cohasset will bring it back up. Patrick Federley not taking the pick from Joe Buckley, passes it off over to Rocco Lugel to slow it down a little bit as the second quarter draws to a close.
30 seconds left here and about 10 on the shot clock.
This mishandling by Cohasset causes the turnover as Monomoy will bring it back up the court for the last 20 seconds of the first half. Shot clock is now off. And great defense by Patrick Federley. Great instincts.
Long arms of Cohasset once again coming into play, getting in those passing lanes.
You can see Teddy Craven sub in for number 5, Rocco Legel. And Noah Nickerson will take it up as we draw to a close. And Monomoy loses possession and is fumbling the ball. Very confusing as to what is going on. Last seconds. And that shot will go for number 21, Dalton Nickerson. Another circus shot, Matt.
Nice little momentum burst there for Monomoy towards the end of that game. Nickerson just throws up a prayer and it goes in. 26-18 now as we get ready for this second half of play. We'll get you to the halftime report in just a second. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here for the halftime report alongside Dan Toomey and our cameraman Luke Norton. I am Matthew MacCormack. So 26-18, Cohasset's got an 8-point lead. Dan, overall impressions of that first half in your point of view?
Well, at the end of the first quarter, it looked like it was just going to be a complete blowout by Cohasset as they had the 14-0 lead over Monomoy. However, as we saw towards the end of the first half, Monomoy starting to make those threes that we were talking about and really see themselves as a threat to the Skipper offense.
Awesome. So it's been a great game so far, certainly from Cohasset, really balanced scoring once again. Rocco Legel leading the way with 8 points, Patrick Federley with 6, and Harrison Martin with 5. So moving on, Cohasset's got the 8-point lead. What do they have to do to maintain that and get themselves a 16th win of the season?
Other than turn it over less, as we saw a little bit on the offense towards the end of the second half, and cover the 3 arc a little more tightly as number 22 is starting to make those a little bit more for Monomoy. But overall, just keep doing what they're doing as we see and ones fall more often. Cohasset's really starting to get the energy they need to pull out the victory here.
Awesome, fantastic. Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Luke. We will get you down onto the court for the second half. And we'd just like to remind you that this is the CSPN Game of the Week. All right, so Dan and I just excitingly got selected to the halftime shooting contest. So we'll shoot 3-pointers in just a moment for a $25 gift card to Good Sport on the line. Dan, you excited?
This should be interesting.
Let's see what happens.
First up, Dan Toomey. All right, now we got Brandon Wynn. Good sports. Tommy Bowers. Now let's go, man. Oh!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready for this third quarter. This is the CSPN Game of the Week brought to you by 143 TV alongside Dan Toomey and our cameraman Luke Norton. I'm Matthew MacCormack. Huge shout out to all the folks down at 143 TV, especially Don Roine for helping us get set up for this evening's game. Pretty good one this evening. Skippers, of course, looking to become 16-0. Keep that undefeated streak alive, and this Monomoy team fighting for their rights to be in the MIAA tournament. 26-18 is the score as we get this third quarter started. Pat Federley with the ball on the wing for Cohasset.
Perhaps a little too close of a score for comfort for Coach Bo Ruggiero. As Cohasset once again dominating the boards. As number 22 De Souza strips the ball away from senior captain Joe Buckley.
You know, a lot of times they say if you win the battle down low, then you win the game. It seems the Skippers are doing that as Henry Brown. A nice little post move in there to get the scoring started off for this third quarter. And ball almost cut away by Chris Haggerty there. Henry Brown, interestingly enough, now matching up on Logan De Souza, who's been the leading scorer here for Monomoy. Hoping Brown's long arms can shut down De Souza as that's, Evan Forgeron reining the 3 in for Monomoy. Eerily silent in this gym. Joe Buckley takes it to the rack, and he'll go to the charity stripe for 2. Looks like Wilson Amezquita. Although he has the best name on the court, he does commit the foul. And Joe Buckley converts on the front end of his 2 shots, bringing him to 3 points on the evening.
A known free throw expert, Joe Buckley.
And make that 4 on the night for Buck. And Cohasset now installing this press here with guards Rocco Legel and Chris Haggerty getting up top, and Legel and Federley get the trap, and they force the turnover they want, Dan.
That trap is always killer to any offense. I don't care what team you are. At one point in the game, you will be, as Rocco Legel gets the foul, not the end one, but on the floor. Every team will be shut down at some point by that trapping defense.
Stifling, suffocating, whatever words you want to use pretty much can describe this devastating Cohasset defense. And there's Rocco Legel slapping the ball in the inbounds play. Ball goes to Federley, turns around, finds Brown. Driving and kicking out, done well by the skippers as Legel goes up and forces the foul. 3 quick fouls in less than a minute and a half here for Monomoy.
Monomoy's had that problem all game. They've been leading in fouls ever since the start of this game, and I think they need to clean that up a little bit if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive.
And Legel backrims his first shot. And a second try for Rocco Legel. Gets it to go, leading the skippers with 9 points on the evening. No skippers in double figures so far. And there's De Souza, who's been the man with the plan tonight for the Sharks. Forgeron back to De Souza. And Forgeron, who just hit a 3 earlier, front rims this one but gets his own rebound. Shot clock resets, Forgeron drives. Nice attempt there, gets his own rebound once again. And that ball's back up to De Souza, to Mesquita, to Forgeron, who seems to be the hot hand right now. Good defense by the skippers. And we got an offensive foul here. Looks like that was on number 2, Noah Nickerson. I did not see it from here, but that's not the first time I've missed something.
Cohasset was, in my opinion, out-hustled and outplayed on our last possession. Hopefully this will not become the theme for the skippers as we ease into this second half.
Yeah, that possession was a one-man band with Evan Forgeron as the lead singer for the Sharks.
And once again, as I have so often said, 10 points, that's a good lead, but I wouldn't be too comfortable with it, as Monomoy, as we have seen, can come back faster than any other team that the skippers have played this year. You know, if De Souza starts making the threes like he did back early in the second quarter, then Cohasset could be in deep trouble.
And checking in is Harrison Martin, taking Chris Haggerty, who just fumbled that ball out of bounds. Giro having a word with Haggerty as he steps to the bench. And you know, you mentioned Monomoy team, really, if they heat up from 3, they're capable of coming back in this game 100%. Mesquita now the ball on the near side. He finds Nickerson. Gonsalves hasn't seen the floor since that second quarter. And there's Forgeron raining the 3. You wonder if Gonsalves temper issues maybe were the reason for his sitting.
Bit of a quiet first quarter for number 12 Forgeron, but he's and what was thought to be a foul by the coach, and Joe Buckley looks a little shaken up on that play. He comes limping off. That is a scary sight for Cohasset.
Indeed, Skipper's playing 4-on-5 basketball right now.
And the assistant coach of Monomoy is quieted by the ref.
Some drama there. So the assistant, we assume it's Sam Zink, was yelled at by the ref for speaking. Coach Bourgeois very upset that the foul was not called for Buckley there, who sits now at the end of the bench working with trainer Steve Budrick. as he looks to rehab.
And you hate to see that when somebody as vital as Joe Buckley goes down. You know, he's a tough player. This usually does not happen.
Certainly scary, but checking in is now Jack Chamberlain taking the place, and fantastic. Some great ball movement there. And Henry Brown adds 2 more, bringing his total to 7 for the evening.
Great defense by Jack Chamberlain as he just misses saving the ball.
That last play was really the epitome of Cohasset basketball. Great ball movement. Passing up good shots for better shots. And now the Scoopers got a 9-point lead, 33-24. Special thanks to Luke Norton for filming this evening's game.
As we just hear the Monomoy head coach Adam Rose talk about how good Cohasset is as a passing team. That is something that they need to identify, and I believe the players are just starting to get into that, starting to tighten up their defense a little more around the arc, and just make sure they don't find the open 3.
And Coach Ruggiero is certainly probably telling his team to do a little more of the same, Dan?
I would agree with that. 33-24, that's only a 9-point lead, and you know, as Monomoy has proved themselves to be a great 3-shooting team, they only need 3 long-range shots and then they're back in this.
Exactly. That's sort of been the theme the whole night, is not being able to put this Monomoy team away. Clearly Cohasset has an upper hand in this game as far as, you know, overall skill level of the team. If they string together, you know, a quick run, maybe they'll put Monomoy away, but as of right now, Monomoy is staying alive with their outside shooting.
And you wonder what's going through these Monomoy's players' minds as their chances of a playoff run are hanging at the threads of this game.
In light of that, the game moves on, and Nickerson loses the ball. Great hustle play by Harrison Martin, diving to the ground. Looks like he does get his foot on the ball, so it will remain Monomoy possession off the kickball. And there's Amaskita. Passing to Nickerson, stolen by Rocco Legel. Now 4-on-2 here for Cohasset. Pat Federley can't get his hands on the ball, and upset is Legel as well as Ruggiero. For Federley fumbling the rock there. Probably would have had an easy layup if he held on to that one.
You know, Rocco Legel is trying to avoid the Monomoy defense, perhaps a little more tight after that conversation with the coach, perhaps a little more aggressive. Cohasset gets called for their first foul, of the third quarter.
Andrew Sotori, number 23 there for Monomoy on the drive. And Jack Donahue makes his first appearance since that first quarter. Number 4, the big sophomore, also a tight end on the football team. And Nickerson working on Legel, but Legel says no, lets him go nowhere. And Forgeron drives to the lane. And that's Jack Donahue. Looks like he gets a piece of it. Deflects the ball out of bounds.
And it seems as though Forgeron is what to the second quarter as Steven Gonzalez, number 5, was to the first. You know, they're really trying to get into his hands. And as we see a beautiful block from Henry Brown, although the frustration from Coach Ujiri over a missed travel. But Cohasset defense once again managing to shut the Monomoy offense down.
And Harrison Martin fires from deep range, can't get it to go. Great hustle play by Jack Chamberlain, tipping the ball away, but it looks like he was over the back there. As Gonsalves gets ready to check in for Monomoy.
And I don't know if you just saw that or not, Matt, but number 31, Harrison Martin, a bit of a practice layup. He got his hand well above the rim. That shows the potential he has as being a huge player on this team. If he is that close to dunking, then we barely know of the talent that he has hidden for his senior year.
Indeed, certainly is going to be a capable scorer. Next season, we all know, of course, his brother, Danny Martin, who is 6'6", 6'5", and was a great player here. Cohasset went on to play at
He's currently
RPI.
at the game.
Oh, there he is. He's in the stands, Danny Martin.
As his first team third.
And the inbound there is to Nickerson, back to Amaskita. Great little give and go there from the two Sharks. the floor. The call is made on the baseline. Jack Chamberlain gets fouled. Looks like that was Andrew Sotiri on the call.
That's the second, team's
Fifth foul of this second half for Monomoy, so in 2 more fouls, the Skippers will be in the bonus.
Monomoy needs to calm down the fouls a little bit. If they get into the bonus, that's going to be a big problem, because Cohasset is very good at free throws.
They don't seem to take your advice, Dan, as they pick up their 6th, just as you're speaking.
That's his 4th foul, team 6.
Looks like the 3rd foul of the night for Gonçalves, so he sits down. And here's Raz passing off to Dono. And there's Harry Martin, back to Raz. And banging the 3 is Rocco Lachelle. First skipper in double figures this evening. He's now got 12. And Harrison Martin gets a delay of game warning for touching the ball after it's come out of the hoop. Not a huge deal there.
Monomoy trying to get it above half court.
And they do just before the 8-second violation. And there's De Souza, who hasn't really found his mark since this first quarter, Dan.
And I think maybe if you were De Souza and you were starting to miss those long-range threes that you were making in the first half, then I would sort of step back and try to see if any other of your teammates can start making threes as well as you were.
And that ball goes out of bounds. And just under 2 minutes here in this third quarter, the score is 36-26. Skippers with a 10-point lead. Nickerson struggling with the ball, and Jack Chamberlain and Amaskita fighting for the ball there on the ground. And there's a foul called on Amaskita. I didn't see it myself.
That's his 3rd, team 7.
And that's the 7th foul, so going to the line for a 1-and-1 now is Jack Chamberlain.
Jack Chamberlain shooting 1-1.
Chamberlain looking to get on the score sheet for the first time this evening. Interestingly enough, Chris Haggerty, who's the 2nd leading scorer for this team, has yet to put a ball on the hoop so far this evening.
That's odd, Matt, considering how well Cohasset swings the ball around and gets everybody to score, as we've seen from the earlier games this season. Almost, if not everybody on the team, gets on the scoreboard somehow or some way, but as you see, Cohasset is holding the reserves, and I think Coach Ruggiero notices that. Although they do have the lead, they can't run away with this quite just yet.
And Chamberlain sinks both from the free throw line. Yeah, I think that's sort of a testament to how well Cohasset does indeed swing the ball around. One of their star players not even on the score sheet, yet they're up by 12 in this game. And Nickerson a little too strong on that layup. And sort of a stagnant attack right now for Monomoy. As we get under the minute mark in the third quarter. Great hustle play defensively by Jack Chamberlain. 10 seconds on the shot clock as that ball goes out of bounds off Jack Chamberlain. Monomoy ball here.
As we see uneasiness starting to ease into all the Monomoy players, as they know, with a minute left in the third quarter, they're still down by 12. They really wish they do not want to see their season end like this.
As Nickerson gets a good before the shot clock is out. I agree with you, Dan. Definitely this Monomoy team's got to show a little higher level of urgency if they're going to continue on into the MIA tournament. And there's Rocco Lagel driving, and through contact he gets fouled by number 14, Tavion Miranda. So Lagel to the line, shooting 2, 31 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
Here we see Chris Haggerty starting to check in to the game. Hopefully he will get back on the scoreboard. As you mentioned earlier, he still remains scoreless. Shocking statistic. Subbing in for number 31, Harrison Martin.
So Raz back rims his first free throw. Certainly Nigel not one of the best shooting guards in the South Shore League, but has definitely improved since his freshman year from a long-range shooting standpoint, as he hits the second of his free throws.
There's half a minute left in this third quarter. Score is 39-26, lead by the Skippers.
And shot clock and game clock just about in exact unison here. And there's Satiri with the shot, first of the night, doesn't go. And another offensive board for Monomoy. De Souza looking to get the last shot. 3 seconds left in the third quarter, and De Souza goes for it and can't get it to go. Seems he's really cooled down. 39-26 is the score as the third quarter ends. Skippers with a 13-point lead.
Bit of frustration we're hearing from the Monomoy players. Coach Agirio has to be happy with the play that he saw as the Skippers have extended their lead to 13.
Absolutely. And here Monomoy trying to put together what is left of their hopes for a tournament run. And for the fourth quarter, Dan, you will take play-by-play. Of course, we've been switching off back and forth. I'd like to remind you all, this is the CSPN Game of the Week, brought to you by 143 TV. Huge shout-out to your boy Luke Norton for filming for us this evening.
And just looking at the scoreboard right now, Matt, Monomoy with 8 fouls, Cohasset with 3. That really speaks to how this game has been going. Perhaps the frustration and desire to win has overcome the minds of all the Monomoy players, as they've perhaps added a little too much into their defense to the point of where they're just over-fouling.
Certainly a lot of pressure from a Monomoy standpoint. You know, you're looking your season in the face. That can be a motivator, and that can also sort of make you bug out a little bit. On a lighter note, number 15, William Amazquita has probably the best shoes on the entire floor, as you see him with the ball right now. Mint-colored
Lovely
Nikes.
Listerine.
I'm a fan.
As am I.
So superlatives tonight from Monomoy. Best hair goes to Steven Gonsalves, and best shoes to William Amazquita.
And refusal to go sleeveless award goes to number 21, Dalton Anderson.
Indeed, and the shoes seem to make the man, as Amazquita rained that last 3. 10-point lead now for the Skippers.
And as you see Cohasset swinging around the arc to Jack Chamberlain in the middle, who does a circus shot, and Monomoy will pick up the rebound and bring it up court.
Forgeron
take a risky 3, Matt. What do we think about that last play by Monomoy? How does that speak to their play so far?
You know, it's a little bit of a desperation look there. There seemed to be a lot of time on the shot clock, and Forgeron just kind of forced that fadeaway deep 2, sort of the worst shot in basketball, that deep 2-pointer.
Yeah, I would agree. Teddy Craven passes up the open 3. Teddy perhaps a little free to shoot. As we see number 20, Chris Haggerty, get onto the scoreboard. Smiles light up within the Cohasset crowd, who has been quiet all game.
And checking in now is Alex Norton, number 32. You see him down low there for Cohasset, the sophomore.
Chris Haggerty bringing the ball up. Cohasset loves to see the second half of the Haggerty brothers still playing for Cohasset and still racking up wins for the Skippers.
Indeed, certainly a very winning family. Of course, Carly was on the state championship girls basketball team. Shane, of course, led the Skippers, to the state semifinal last year. And Chris, one of the key members of the team this year.
A dynasty, the Haggerty family.
Indeed, they all have that perfect shooting stroke they inherited from their father, Chris.
Chris Haggerty. Ball on the outside, passes out to Pat Federley. Pat Federley will take the 3 with a man in his face, and he will miss it. Touches everything but the bottom of the net. Those are aggravating, Matt.
Indeed, I've been a victim of those kind of shots several times, and I can tell you that it's frustrating.
As we saw in our half-court shooting contest.
Indeed. Still angry about that.
As am I. I thought I was better. As we see Rockwell Joe and Henry Brown check in for Teddy Craven and Jack Chamberlain. Coach Agirio starting to put his starters back in, minus the possibly injured Joe Buckley. We do not see him on the bench anymore. That is very interesting. Hopefully nothing too severe, as he is a senior captain and a large part of this team.
It's a great point, Dan. You know, he's not back on the bench, and you know, you have to worry about his safety after that. Probably trainer Steve Budrick is back up in the gym, so you wonder if Buckley's just resting, but that is sort of scary.
He didn't look as though he was in an incredible amount of pain when he was walking off, although he was hobbling.
Indeed.
So that does tell us something.
This is also not a nail-biting game, so you know, when you're about to be 16-0, certainly you don't take any risks from an injury standpoint.
Rocco Legel with the ball at the top of the 3 line. See a bit of frustration from Joe Trujillo as Cohasset struggles to find the open shot, but great passing.
Fantastic.
The easy layup thanks to the beautiful Cohasset passing, as we have seen them do all season, Matt.
Henry Brown flipped to Chris Haggerty. Chris Haggerty finds Alex Norton. Bang, bang, bang. Skippers got themselves a 13-point lead.
Tight defense. However, Amaskita is there for the easy putback.
Skip's got to really box out there. It's too easy of a bucket to be letting up at this point in the game.
Shocking to see the Cohasset players with that lack of defense, as Chris Haggerty will take the 3 and miss it. Rocco Legel here to calm things down. Patrick Federley stopped by the Monomoy defense in the paint. They do not want any easy buckets.
And, you know,
except for Rocco Legel coming in, but he is blocked by what appears to be number 2, Noah Nickerson.
Federley dribbled around a little too much for Bourgeois' liking on that last possession. Immediately has put in Jack Donahue, preparing to sub Federley out. 3 skippers preparing to come in. That's Donahue, Chamberlain, and Martin taking out Haggerty, Federley, and Norton. So a slew of new skippers out there on the court with just about 4 minutes to go in this 4th quarter. Skippers got an 11-point lead.
And this is about the time where Coach Ujiri starts to put a little more trust, as once again we see a very ambitious and rather not smart 3 from Evan Forgeron. However, though, leads to the Cohasset turnover and the missed layup by number 5, Steven Gonzalez.
He seems to be just a little bit off all night. Clearly one of normally Monomoy's better players and ball handlers, but he hasn't really been on tonight at all.
And if you're a team like Monomoy, you wonder what their philosophy is going to be after a game like this, if they do in fact get an L against the Skippers. How do you progress through the season knowing that you are not going to make the playoffs?
Yeah, I know. I think you just got to start preparing for next season. And, you know, obviously, as a senior, you want to make the most out of your last games, whether they're in the playoffs or not. And Harrison Martin here, going to the line.
Great free throw shooter, Harrison Martin, as he rattles in his first shot. He gets the Cohasset superlative of best way to wear 2 pairs of socks.
Harrison Martin, no doubt. And he hits both, bringing his total to 7 on the evening. Recapping the scoring here for Cohasset. Rocco Legel with 11. Harrison Martin and Henry Brown each with 7. Pat Federley with 6. And Joe Buckley with 4. Cannot be good for the Cohasset defense, as they were just about, as the Monomoy offense was just about to be shut down by the shot clock. As you see the skipper crowd trying to get in the heads a little bit of the Sharks, calling it a bit early, as we have seen in so many college games. You know, that's a pretty bad foul, to be blunt, but I mean, there's shot clock winding down. Monomoy Sharks have absolutely no good shot, but skippers bailed them out with a foul there.
As the Cohasset crowd getting into the heads of the free throw shooters a little bit.
You know, it took them to the last 3 minutes of the game to start being vocal, but certainly will take it at any point from the skipper faithful.
Teddy Craven brought to the floor, but pops right back up like nothing even happened as number 2 Noah Nickerson's called for the foul. Once again, frustration setting in. 10 fouls. Teddy Craven goes to the line for the bonus.
Now in the double bonus, Craven will shoot 2 no matter what. This game getting a little bit out of reach now. 3 minutes and 13 points.
Teddy Craven will miss his first free throw. And he will make his second. Monomoy will take it up. Trying to blow by. Great pass to Noah Nickerson on the over at the three-point line. Tries to get, takes the outside baseline jumper, but will not make it. And Jack Donahue will get the rebound. Henry Brown opened for a second. I believe Teddy Craven saw him, but the defense came back too quick, too fast for Teddy to make a move. And Matt, as this game winds down to an end, what can we hope for the remainder of the Skippers season?
Well, Skippers have a huge tilt as this shot clock winds down. Great play by Harrison Martin there. Skippers have a huge tilt this coming Friday against Rockland. So if you're watching this game before Friday, certainly get out to Rockland and support the Skippers. That's going to be a huge game. They beat Rockland earlier on in the season. CSPN was there to broadcast. It was probably one of their best wins of the whole season, but that's going to be a tough game. But beyond that, the Skippers have a pretty good shot at running the table. And this win puts them in the firm driver's seat, firm position in the driver's seat of this South Shore League. So certainly you really like what you see from a Cohasset standpoint.
And Matt, as we see Chris Haggerty sub in, there's a bit of breaking news as we see Joe Buckley sitting behind the Skipper's bench with his ankle wrapped in ice, and this is right ankle. Hopefully nothing too severe that will disable his play for the remainder of the season, hopefully just a practice or two.
Yeah, certainly. He's had trouble with that ankle in the past, you know, from soccer and basketball injuries and whatnot. You just hope that, you know, Skippers are going to give him enough time to get healthy.
As Rocco Lagel subs in for Teddy Craven, Coach Jury a little frustrated at Teddy Craven for giving that away.
And Coach Bo was pretty furious after that. You know, I mean, 13-point lead, just about 2 minutes left in the game, but still, he is as intense and lively as ever.
He has a reputation of such. He's made a name for himself in the league, as we saw him blow up at the Monomoy assistant coach David Hoffman earlier.
And so, I mean, if you're still watching this game, I'd just like to remind you that this is the CSPN Game of the Week brought to you by 143 TV. Special thanks to Don Roine, our program director, Luke Norton, our sophomore cameraman, and alongside Dan Toomey, I'm Matthew MacCormack. And get ready for CSPN, which is coming back. The first full-length episode of the season will be on February 27th. So if you're interested in catching up on all Cohasset action, CSPN is your news source for Cohasset athletics. And back to Sullivan Gym here. Skips head out for this final 2 minutes and 19 seconds of their contest against Monomoy.
And you know, Matt, with a 13-point lead, 2 minutes to go, it seems as though the playoff run for Monomoy is just too out of reach for them to regain at this point. As, you know, ridiculous layups such as that lead to massive frustration and fouling. Although, great hustle by number 5, Steven Gonzalez. It was really lacking in the first half.
Yeah, a little bit too little too late, Dan. Not to be a cliche, but...
And Chris Haggerty is blocked by number 15, Wilson Amaskita.
Amaskita wins both best name and best shoes for this Monomoy team.
A rare double superlative winner here at CSPN.
But we digress.
And a 5-second call by the ref. So,
looks like a foul actually on number 5. He was holding up 5 for the number on Salvis's jersey.
My mistake.
No problem, Dan.
As Coach Ujiro tries to get a bit of a timeout. However, that does not work, and Henry Brown will take 2 free throws.
Classic gamesmanship move as Brown strides to the charity stripe. Misses the front end, and some confusion there. It is still 2 shots here, as 11 fouls now for Monomoy. And he hits his second.
1:43 here to go in the last quarter of the game. Nickerson trying to find an open shot. He is fouled by Rocco Agel, will not result in an and one. However, he will go to the free throw line.
That's his 5th personal foul. Team's 9th.
And Cohasset racking up the fouls as well.
Looks like Chris Haggerty, look like Rocco Agel with 5 fouls. I think he may have fouled out, but he remains on the court. So Rocco Agel does indeed foul out. Teddy Craven checks in, as do Jack Donahue and Alex Norton. Sort of the second team in for Cohasset now, with this one firmly in the grasp of Cohasset.
And this is where we see not only the Cohasset students getting into the game a little bit, but also the reserves who often get in around this time, as a bit of Monomoy frustration on the bench. Almost broke a clipboard, not quite.
A lot of tension between the coaches from both sides and the officials. Sort of a triangle of hate, if you will, going on here as tensions boil over a tad bit. Refs probably made a mistake right there. They only let 1 free throw when it was supposed to be 2. Got some ironing out to do and some apologies to be made.
It's Coach Ujiro and his brand new Nikes argues with the ref over the call.
I like those Nikes, they're good running shoes. Still, best Nikes of the night. Those mint and purple ones that I'm a ski to have might get me a pair of
Hard
those.
competition. That might result in the coach's frustration that he did not win the superlative.
Indeed, Coach Ujiro frustrated over
A very
that
prestigious
fact.
award, I might add.
It's the first time we've actually ever done it, but
Harrison Martin gets the and one. Beautiful play, gets the crowd not up on its feet, but clapping.
second and 1 opportunity of the night for Harrison Martin.
Harrison Martin will go to the line for 1. And the superlative for best cameraman of the night goes to Luke Norton.
Huge shout out to your boy Luke Norton. As Harry Martin sinks the free throw. Martin the Spartan, as no one calls him but me. Minute 15 remaining in the game.
And Noah Nickerson with the crazy too. He gets the foul by number 1 Teddy Craven, and a timeout. Rather a technical foul on Teddy Craven. Very rare from the shy point guard.
Looks like Craven was really upset with that foul call.
Technical foul for Cohasset, number 1 Teddy Craven. That's his second. After line shooting technicals for Monomoy, number 2 Noah Nickerson.
You don't usually see that from the Red Lobster.
Skipper's got a 16-point lead, but still tensions boiling over on both sides. Craven upset with the officials. Coaches of Monomoy upset with the officials. And, we're shooting technical fouls with a minute left in a game.
50-35. Not a whole lot of excitement in this gym.
I'm surprised a lot of fans have stayed for the remainder of this game, even though it's a pretty manageable win for Cohasset. Excuse me.
And despite the calls from the Cohasset crowd, he's able to convert both of his technicals. That is, once again, number 12, Evan Forgeron.
50-37 the tally. DeSouza.
Ambitious 3 by DeSouza. And another ambitious 3 results in the Cohasset rebound by Chris Haggerty. Pops it out to Harrison Martin for the breakaway. And then the purpose foul by number 21, Dalton Nickerson, as he is subbed out consequently.
That was his 5th foul, and he fouled out. That was a little bizarre. It was almost as if he was trying to foul out. As Martin strides to the line, looking to add to his 10-point night.
With less than a minute to go, the Skippers will move on with their undefeated record. And Monomoy, unfortunately, not able to clinch that playoff spot they so desperately needed.
So 6-11 will be the record for Monomoy. After this one, 16-0 will be the record for Cohasset. Sort of a tale of two towns, if you will.
Indeed. And as Monomoy is just... Oh! Never mind. As we see number 12, Evan Forgeron, throw up a very ambitious 3. However, he drains it right in the face of the Cohasset defense. While that may be a fantastic shot, this score is still 51-40.
And so Thierry fouls Martin again. Martin frustrated. There's an 11-point lead for the Skippers. Really no reason to be fouling with 46 seconds left, but Monomoy trying to do whatever they can to keep this season of theirs alive.
Somebody trying to pull a Tracy McGrady, 2006, when he had that great comeback against the Spurs.
Was it 13 points in 30 seconds, Dan?
13 points in 30 seconds.
Incredible. I scored 4 points in 2 years of basketball. It's crazy how Tracy McGrady scored 13 in 30 seconds.
Tracy McGrady-esque free throws from Harrison Martin, sinking both.
McGrady actually trying baseball now, they say. Completely random note as Forgeron misses the shot. And Martin is fouled again. Seems to just be running up his point totals.
Almost as though the frustration of an Orlando Matic, Tracy McGrady, kicking the ball.
Dan, please stop.
I apologize.
Alec Norton now heading to the line. And good as it goes. Four points on the night for Norton as he hits his 2 free throws.
Seeing a great performance here from the sophomore, proving himself as Nickerson tries to get the foul. It does not go. Jack Hoffman rips down the rebound from the attempted save by Monomoy as the game draws to a close. 20 seconds left on the clock. This gym is quiet. The Monomoy defense has slowed down.
It's going to be a W for the Skippers. Improve to 16-0. Keep that undefeated record alive. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Skippers victory. And lots of frustration from Monomoy as their hopes to get to the MIA tournament have been thwarted by Cohasset. And stay tuned for the post-game report. We will be with you shortly, and possibly with some interviews with some of CHS's most prominent players and coaches. Special thanks to Luke Norton for filming this evening's game. For Dan Toomey, I'm Matthew MacCormack. This has been the CSPN Game of the Week, and stay tuned. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you all for tuning in. Skippers get the W 54-40, improve to 16-0, and clinch themselves at least a share of the South Shore League title. Dan, your overall impression of the game?
Got a little slow towards the end, little quiet here in the gym. However, great performance by the Skippers as usual, extending their undefeated season. Unfortunately, the Monomoy Sharks are out of the playoffs as of now. We will not be seeing them in the postseason as the Skippers look to extend their undefeated record.
Awesome, and just recapping the leading scores of the night for Cohasset, Rocco Liddell led the way with 13, and Harrison Martin followed up with 12, so certainly those two players with a big contribution from a Skipper's standpoint. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will get you guys down to some interviews in just a second.
Okay, I am here with JV head coach Jim Willis and varsity assistant coach. Now, what do you believe were the keys to the varsity's undefeated season thus far?
Balance. Thus far, we have a whole bunch of people scoring on every given night. Tonight, we had Rocco and Harrison in double figures, plus a bunch of other guys with 6 and 8. There's no one guy to take away. We have different guys step up. Also, we've had great depth. Games where we've had guys foul out, or games we've got hurt. Like tonight, Joe Buckley gets hurt. Bench comes in and does a great job, and that's been the key: balance and depth.
And speaking of that Joe Buckley injury, do you know what has happened to Joe, or if he will be back for the next game?
He sprained his ankle, and he'll hopefully be okay.
Fantastic catch. And just like that, he is very famous for his sideline antics, as we always see every game. So just asking you about that, is there any method to your madness?
Just bring the energy. Got to bring the energy.
And speaking of energy, we did see a JV blowout win for the junior varsity Skippers. Anything you would like to say about that?
No, they just played outstanding defense. They gave up 6 points in the first quarter because they didn't box out, and then I don't think they gave up an offensive rebound the rest of the game, and they just played outstanding defense one possession at a time and did great.
All right, wise words from the Czar Willis, and hopefully the Skippers will continue their undefeated record thus far, and we will see a bright future for both the assistant coach and the rest of the team. With CSPN, I am Dan Toomey. Thank you very much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am now flanked by two junior giants. To my left, I have Jack Chamberlain, and to my right, I have Patrick Federley. Jack, you guys get the 54-40 win tonight. What did you do to get that result?
Well, it was more of a team effort. We work harder than anyone in the state, and that's why we're 16-0.
Fantastic words from Jack Chamberlain, and now Patrick Federley, fifth start on this team, dropped in 6 points this evening. Being a junior on a really senior-dominated team, what is that like looking forward into the future?
I think I've got a lot of guidance and learned a lot of knowledge from these seniors this year and last year from Shane and Christian. And with all the bench energy from Jack and Teddy Craven, Harrison Martin, I think we're going to be just as good next year as we are this year.
Awesome, fantastic. Good things for the Skippers' future. Hit the showers, guys. Great effort. All right, so some great interviews there from Coach Willis as well as Jack and Patrick. 54-40, Skippers get the W. Final words from Dan Toomey?
A great win for the Skippers, keeping up their undefeated season. A lot of players showing their role, Harrison Martin, Jack Chamberlain, really proving themselves to Coach Ruggiero and Coach Willis. Great future for them.
Awesome, fantastic effort. Skippers get the W, improved to 16-0. Special thanks to Luke Norton for filming all of tonight's action, and we'd like to shout out to Don Roine, the 143 TV program director. Thank you guys all for watching. We'd remind you all that this is the CSPN Game of the Week, and Cohasset, please keep it classy.